In this video, I'm going to teach you a couple different ways to quickly wind your offstring yo-yo up. Now, the way that I just showed you here is my preferred method, but it's also a little bit trickier. It can be a little bit more difficult to learn, so I'm also going to teach you a slightly easier method, and that way you can get started. And the nice thing about offstring style yo-yoing is you are going to have plenty of opportunity to practice winding your yo-yo up because you're probably going to be dropping your yo-yo an awful lot. So the simpler way to do a quick wind up is very, very similar to what you would do with an unresponsive yo-yo. And so with an offstring yo-yo, what you're going to do is set it onto the string and then take the end of the string here and just pinch it between your first finger and your thumb, just like that. And now all you want to do is get the yo-yo spinning so that you can perform a bind. And this is a lot more like an unresponsive yo-yo than a responsive yo-yo. You'll remember with a responsive yo-yo, what you want to do is you want to pull up so that the yo-yo bounces up in the air and gets some slack. Well, if you do that with an offstring yo-yo, it's going to come right off the string, and that's not what you want because then it's just going to fall down to the ground. So this is more like an unresponsive yo-yo. So what I would recommend doing is getting your hand onto the yo-yo to prepare it to get your spin, and then pull forward with your opposite hand while you pull back and down with your hand that's on the yo-yo. And then as smooth as you can, you want to get the yo-yo spinning. Now you can see that it doesn't spin for very long, and so you want to be able to execute your bind pretty quickly, and also the straighter you can get your fast wind up, the better, because the straighter it is, the less friction is going to slow the yo-yo down, of course. And so you just want to get as much power out of it as you can while not adding any slack, and then immediately you can perform your bind. If the yo-yo doesn't seem like it has enough spin, then you can do what I did, which is to drop your hand down to give the yo-yo more time to wind up. And what you may be able to see is that because it was spinning so slowly, it doesn't wind up very tight. Now, in a previous video, I talked about how if you have a really loose wind, what you don't want to do is you don't want to pull the string tight because that will mess up the way that it's wound up, and then the yo-yo won't come off the string. And so when you're doing that with a wind-up where the yo-yo hasn't been spinning very quickly, basically what you want to do is you want to throw it very, very gently so that at no point are you really pulling hard on the string. And if you can throw it really gently, then that can get all of the string out of the gap, and then you can perform a proper bind and you're ready to go. And that's one of the things about these fast wind-up techniques is that it's so difficult to get the yo-yo spinning fast enough. Most of the time you need to perform your bind, and then you need to throw the yo-yo again to clear it, to get a tight bind, and then you can move on from there. Now, something that we've talked about in other videos, but this is also true of offstring yo-yos, the smaller the center of the yo-yo is, then the harder it's going to be able to get spin on it if you put your thumb on the offstring yo-yo to get it to start spinning. So what I mean by that is a yo-yo like the Spire that has a very narrow center. This diameter here is very narrow. You're not going to be able to get a lot of spin with your thumb like you can if you were to split your fingers and do the same thing on the outer halves of the yo-yo. And basically, the fatter the diameter is at the center of the yo-yo, the better the technique with the thumb is going to work, and the smaller the diameter, the better it's going to work just splitting your fingers and putting your hand on the yo-yo like this. And again, once you get it going, then you can perform your bind, give it enough time to wind up, and then do that kind of soft throw to clear the string, and you're ready to go. Now, once you have that down, what you can also do is you can combine that with a one-handed offstring bind. So again, you're holding the string in your hand the same way, just pinching it between your first finger and your thumb. And what you can do once the yo-yo's spinning is you can just swing the yo-yo forward, release that string, and then pull back really, really slightly. And if you do it just right, you don't throw the yo-yo out too fast, then the yo-yo will bind and return to your hand. So you can combine this with the same technique because you're already getting the yo-yo swinging forward when you're doing your fast wind. So one thing that you do want to keep in mind is that when you swing the yo-yo forward, it kind of jumps forward really quickly, and that makes it a little bit difficult to get it into the right position to actually execute this bind. And so when I was first working on this, I would find that even though I could get the yo-yo to bind and come back, the yo-yo wouldn't always come off the string the next throw. And I think it was because the yo-yo's not spinning that fast, but I was having that really tight pull motion because the yo-yo was moving away from me too quickly. And so what I started doing to make this work a little bit better is I'll get the yo-yo spinning, And then as it's swinging away from me, I use the motion of my hand. I kind of move forward with the yo-yo a little bit to slow the motion of the yo-yo down, and then kind of purposefully swing it up. And you can see that that helps to execute the bind. Again, you're going to probably have a loose bind, especially at first when you're doing this, and so you're going to want to clear it with a really soft throw. And that one's a little bit trickier, but again, once you practice it a little bit and you can kind of get the timing down with that swing, then you can also execute that, and that's quite a bit faster than stopping and binding, but it's also a little bit more risky, so you'll have to see if you can work that out. Now, both of these methods are great, but I don't think either of them works quite as well as this third method, and the main reason is that it's very, very difficult to get enough spin on the yo-yo that you can get a clean bind that you don't then need to clear in order to actually start performing tricks. Usually with those binds, you want to do at least one throw to clear all the string out before you give it a really powerful throw. This next one, the clearing of the string is built right into it. And so let's take a look at that. The first thing that you want to do is you want to hold the yo-yo in your hand just like this, and that will leave the string dangling right here. So you're going to take the string, wind it over the top of the yo-yo and then under, so that it's again hanging off the front of your hand just like this. And what you're going to do, it's going to look like I'm throwing the yo-yo. It's not really about the throw. It's just releasing the yo-yo so that the yo-yo can start traveling down the string, and you'll start to feel it spin, kind of engaging with the string. So while it's doing that, you are going to be moving your hand away from the yo-yo. You're not going to pinch the string. You're going to let the string slide through your fingers as you do it. And the reason why you don't just start way down here is it keeps the string controlled so that it doesn't accidentally go into the side of the yo-yo. So again, you're going to release the yo-yo. It's going to start to wind down the yo-yo. And then at a certain point, somewhere between 1/4 of the way down, but no more than 1/2 the way down, you're going to lift up. And you want to lift up in a really smooth motion. What you don't want to do is you don't want to jerk the yo-yo up so that it bounces and gets slack. If it bounces and gets slack, then the same thing can happen. A part of the string can get into the side of the yo-yo that you don't want, or it might just not work at all. And so you're going to move up with a really slow motion, and what that will do is it will reverse the direction that the yo-yo is spinning. And so the yo-yo will then start to climb the string up to your hand. And what you basically want to do at that point is wait for the yo-yo to get to your hand so that you can grab it. So when you do that, that looks like this, just like that. And you can see there's still all of this string right here. And I know that was really quick. We'll do that again. Once you get the yo-yo right here, then if you did it right, what's going to happen is the string is going to go from your finger to the front side of the yo-yo, and then the rest of the string, this tail right here, is going to be going down the back side of the yo-yo. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab on, and you want to hold on tight this time. You're going to throw the yo-yo forward like a normal off-string throw. Make sure to keep the string you're holding with your opposite hand behind the yo-yo as you throw it. And when you throw it, it's going to catch on the string, and so then you want to swing it in between your hands just like this. And now you've got your yo-yo spinning, and then you can perform your bind. And the main thing that you want to keep in mind with this is you don't need a lot of power. That's not what it's about. It's really just the finesse of having really smooth motions and then allowing the yo-yo to come back up to your hand. You're going to decelerate down and then re-accelerate on your way up, and so it's almost like a wave that you're going to do, and then you're going to pause and wait for the yo-yo to get back to your hand. Once you get more comfortable with this, if you want it to go even faster, you don't actually even have to catch the yo-yo as it's winding back up the string. You can perform what's basically the same thing as a stall in two-way, where you just curl your hand backward in order to get the yo-yo to slow down to a stop, and then before you catch it, you throw the yo-yo right back out. That looks like this. And you can see you can still get a lot of power out of it, and you can move right into your tricks. And it's going to be a little bit less controlled, but if you're feeling ambitious and you just want to go as fast as you can, it's also a good way to learn this trick. Now, when you're first learning this trick, there's really two problems that you're likely to run into. The first one is when you go to throw the yo-yo, it doesn't actually release from the string and then spin free. It gets caught. And that usually just means that somewhere in your technique, it's a little bit sloppy. You might be pulling the yo-yo up a little bit too quickly instead of having that wave motion. You might have too much slack in the string, and so a part of the string gets in the side of the yo-yo. Anything that goes wrong with this will keep it from coming off the string, so you just need to be a little bit more disciplined in how you approach it. The more you do it, it should work itself out that way. The second thing that can happen, and this one can be really frustrating, is when you pull up with your hand, the yo-yo, instead of climbing up the string, it kind of starts to climb up and then it just drops right back down and it doesn't wind up at all. And there's two reasons that this could be happening. The first one is you might have a brand new yo-yo. And there's something about new response pads that don't always work super well with this particular trick. But thankfully, what I found is playing with any Offstring yo-yo for about 5 or 10 minutes will break in the response pads, and then it will start to work. The second reason this might be happening is you might not be keeping the string taut. And so when I talked about sliding your hand down the string, part of the reason you do that is you always want to keep a little bit of tension on the string. And when you pull that string tight, you don't want it too tight, but you do want a little tiny bit of pressure on that. What that does is it keeps the string tight around the axle, and that allows it to spin while it goes down. And then when you lift up, it kind of forces it to wind around the axle. And then that will allow you to complete the trick. And that will also keep the string from going into the side of the yo-yo. Just keeping it a little bit taut as you do it is just a good idea in general. Now, of these 3 particular wind-up techniques, I think that you'll probably end up like me, and the third one will be the one that you always want to go to. But if you're having trouble learning it, and it took me a little while to get this one down, definitely use the first 2, kind of work your way up. But the faster you can learn to wind your Offstring yo-yo, the more you are going to enjoy learning tricks. So get to it. That is the fast wind-up techniques for your Offstring yo-yo.